Today at Bryant High School, interviewing Roger Jenkins. He's a teacher here at Bryant, and today I was going to ask him some questions about the use of smart boards in the classroom. First of all, what grade do you teach?
Ninth grade.
And what subject?
History, world history.
And how long have you been teaching?
This will be my 10th year.
10 years. Okay. Do you consider yourself an interactive teacher with your students?
Yes, I do. I use a variety of technology. I use an Interact pad, Elmo pad. I constantly move around in the classroom. I never stay in one spot too long. To me, if you move around and you interact with them, the kids tend to stay. They don't have long attention span. So if you constantly move it around and constantly changing even your tone of your voice, you tend to keep their attention a little bit longer.
So you're pretty innovative, and you feel like you're pretty up to date on technology use in the classroom. Okay. You think that the use of technology makes your workload easier?
Tons easier. Tons easier. Even with the STI, the grade book, lesson plans, to PowerPoints, to computers, it takes off hours and hours of work.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
What has been your experience with using a smart board?
When I was at Alva for 6 years, we've had workshops with smart boards. We had in a couple of the classrooms there were smart boards. In the teacher workrooms, when we do presentations, we had smart boards. I was at BC Rain my first year. They had one of the first schools to have a smart board, and I integrated the smart board in with lesson plans for teaching computer, teaching PowerPoints, and doing PowerPoint projects with the students.
Now, you don't actually have a smart board in your classroom,
No, not yet. We were supposed to have one, but that's been going on for 4 years.
So 4 years ago, they promised you to have smart boards in your classroom, and still
we just hadn't gotten one.
Have you ever seen a teacher use a smart board in a classroom setting?
Yeah, I've seen a 6th grade teacher at Alva. She used it regularly. She integrated math, science. She even integrated history with the smart board.
Did you notice any reaction from her class?
Yeah, the students tend to participate, especially when they have to get up and use it. And at first, the kids are real into it because it's something new. It's like magical. They get to use the markers, and they get to hit it with their hands, and they tend to like it.
Do you think that newness maybe wears off after a while, or
you have to switch it up. Even if you have a 6-year-old child at your house, and if you buy a new toy for them, they tend to play with it, and then after a while, if you leave the toy there, they tend to play with something else. But if you take it away from them and then integrate it later on, it's like new again. So I think if you're doing technology, you can have an overkill on one particular style that you're teaching, and the kids will get bored with it. The kids will, they lose focus because it's the same old thing. But in order to be good at something, if you want your children to be good at one thing, then you have to focus on that one thing. But you still have to change it up so you have a variety to it.
That makes perfect sense. I have small children, and I know about getting bored with things. So, with that in mind, do you have enough experience with programs to have an opinion of whether a smart board would be more effective with younger children versus secondary or high school?
Yeah, I think on the elementary level, if you have kids, small children, and you want to keep their attention span, and you want to integrate it in, and I think it'll work real well, especially with grammar and the writing skills, and it just depends on the teacher on how creative you can be in changing up your lessons and adapting to it.
Right.
A lot of teachers, when it comes to doing something new, they've been set in their ways for so long that they don't want to participate. And I thoroughly believe the more you do something, the better you get at it,
right.
The more you practice at it.
That's been one of our topics, is about becoming a technologically literate teacher. Defining that, what does it mean, and should we expect all teachers to be technologically literate? And I see what you're saying about some teachers not wanting to do something new because they've been doing it the same way for years. Let's see. the next question was about, does new technology help you become more interactive with your students, or does it condone being more of a loner?
I think it definitely allows you to be more interactive with your students. The kids have a great time. At any time in my classroom, I can pull up the internet, and they can see tons of information, quotes, stories. If I wanted to find, for example, a segment from The Prince, Machiavelli, I could pull it up right there on the computer and show them. Whereas before in the past, it'd take time to pull out a transparency, and then you lose their interest because the amount of time that you have to switch back and forth from an overhead, you lose their attention. Then you have management problems, behavior problems.
And with a smartboard, can't you download that information?
You can download the information, you can copy it, you can paste it. There's tons. There's tons of ways you can use a smartboard. For instance, it comes with a program when you can download maps. You have like hundreds of maps at your disposal if you're a history teacher, and you can just pop it up and boom, it's there. You pass out an activity sheet for them to label countries. It's just that quick. Whereas before, you would have to take time or take hours prepared to have your maps already outlined and already. It's just tons of work.
So you feel like it would be very useful for
Very
the classroom.